Gentlemen, great cast on the day. I am joined by Pobelter of Immortals after their win over Echo Fox. Another sub-20 minute, as you guys were saying, and I'm just absolutely astonished at these wins. Pobelter, you talked a bit earlier about like arrogance and how to not let that take over the team. You guys have now been undefeated for 6 games. How do you actually stop that from happening?
Well, I just always try and keep in mind how hard it is to stay on top. You know, you always see teams that are at the top, like the World's Curse or whatever, teams that win Worlds, they never qualify again the next year because it's just so hard. You know, teams are always going to learn from you, playing against you, watching you. So I think it's much harder to stay on top than to catch up.
And staying on top is actually very hard because you have to continue to keep your caliber of play at a high level. My next question is exactly that. How do you guys identify problems on the team so quickly to call back to when Huni went a little aggressive in the top lane in your previous game, but you guys were able to turn that around right away? What is the mechanic you guys use, or how do you approach that, just making things work?
I wouldn't say we have any sort of like secret or any special strategy that we use. You know, we're just good at it, I guess. We're just good communicators, good at identifying what we need to fix.
Is there anybody that kind of takes a lead in that role in the team?
No, I would say everyone has a bit of an equal part.
All these answers become scarier and scarier because it just makes the team sound so well-rounded, and you guys produce those results on the Rift. Final question for you. You have CLG next week. How are you guys going to prepare for that game?
We're just going to do what we've been doing because it seems to work out pretty well so far, and hopefully we're going to win.
If it ain't fixed, don't broke it. We'll get this one in. Nice. All right, guys, we're going to throw it to the analyst desk to break down a little more of that game.
Thank you, Rib. Another sub-20-minute game for Immortals here, putting on another clinic. And, you know, with them, the trend seems to be, as was mentioned in the cast, early leads, but then utilizing those leads correctly to invade the jungle, starve teams out. This time, though, it all started with Reignover. Yeah. His early pressure.
Anyone takes over a game for these guys. Yesterday was Wild Turtle with 11 kills. Reignover has always been good early in every single one of these games. But this game, he ended up getting the kill. So this was the first gank, and it's a CC chain. No matter what strategy Immortals is running, they're doing the right execution. They do a cocoon, which they know is going to get oranged off, and they immediately just chained it with an extend. I don't even actually know if he had oranges, he was level 2. But if he had oranges, he would have been going for it.
Made sure to get the red buff on there first.
Yeah, and then here is just a nice turnaround. Right as Grigney was going to go for the kill, Reignover stops off. He then jumps and follows with the repel, and then he comes all the way around back from the other side. Pobelter barely with enough health, single-digit HP at that point. But even if that had given him the kill, Reignover still cleans up the double kill.
Right.
And the whole time, they were pushed towards Gangplank's turret. And the mid lane wasn't even the worst lane for them.
Oh, no. Oh, dear Lord, not at all. Top lane, we had not only a massive CS discrepancy, Quinn versus Fiora. The Quinn was picked up second, so great pick ban for them there, giving Huni that favorable matchup, building a huge CS discrepancy, but then we even saw Reignover make his visit to the top lane and tilt that matchup just slightly more.
Yep. It was really funny, actually, because there was a 30 or 40 CS difference for Huni, advantage over the Fiora, and he didn't even get an assist.
True. It was all Reignover's work.
It's scary what Immortals is doing to people. Obviously, their 2 sub-20-minute wins have come against teams with substitutes, but that's still 2 sub-20-minute wins in 6 games. Like, that has never happened before.
Right, when you think about, I mean, you see that kind of stuff in solo queue, and you're like, okay, everything went wrong in this game, whatever, FF at 20. This is competitive play. This is professional level League of Legends, and whether you like it or not, or whether these are subs or not, these are good players, right? You're doing this to some of the best players out there in North America, so very impressive from them there. I think, too, the next aspect of it is looking back at that top lane, the kind of pressure that Quinn was pulling, because the second part of it was we saw that 4-man visit to the top lane by Echo Fox that didn't even get them anything. They ended up just trading turrets, top and bottom, and losing waves of CS in the bot lane. And so just kind of the pressure that Reignover then extends to his laners by setting them ahead makes it very tough for their opposing teams to make decisions as to like how they're going to get back into the game.
And I don't even know if Huni has ever been better. There's 2 really clutch counter picks he's picked against considered like unbeatable OP must-ban champions. He picked a Cho'Gath against a Ryze, and now he's picked a Quinn against a Fiora. Fiora and Ryze are 2 picks most people are like, oh, you never want to give that away to certain players. And he has decimated those picks with these pocket counter picks, which is really impressive because if you think back to when Huni entered the LCS, spring split playoffs in Europe, he had 2 to 3 champions that were banned out, and then he played Smite Lee Sin. Like, that's all he had. He had like 4 champions.
Right.
So from that point until now, where he has specific counter picks for every overpowered champion, it's just super impressive.
Part of what makes them so exciting to watch, too, right? You're waiting for what's their answer going to be for this, that, the other thing. Hopping to the other side of the rift real quick, we got to hit on Echo Fox. I mean, it is the sub-roster, but one of the things we can note is that the 2 places that were targeted or they were having the most trouble were that mid and that top lane.
Yeah, Solo and Golden Glue, they are getting their LCS experience that they hope for. They're both from the Challenger team Ember, who's going to be looking to make it in the LCS. But whether they're in Challenger or in the LCS or not, they need to pick up their play because they have been double-digit CS deficits in a couple of games in their few short time here, and you're putting your team in a pretty big hole when that happens. Whether or not that's from synergy with Grigney or over synergy from other teams, they have to do better.
Right, definitely hurting for Froggen and KFO there. We're not done yet. There's still one more game after the break. It's Counterlogic Gaming versus Renegades. You're watching the North American LCS.
I'm just kidding, dude. I love you, Turtle.
Yeah, you can't do that, Turtle. I mean, Huni, you always flame us and then you say I love you, dude.
What?
That doesn't always
It's
make
you,
sense.
dude. What? Don't say that in front of camera.
Pavelto does not dodge the spell. This is pretty dangerous. Grigney comes in, didn't get stunned though. Pavelto doesn't even burn the flash to stay alive. There's the raid overkill, and Golden Blue can't get into Pavelto.
Can you help? Can you help?
Yeah, look. In case I'm tipping.
Alista note.
You rotate a bot.
Repel the Q, not quite in range. He's gonna flash over Huni. He's gonna pick him up. He's got to leave the base now, but now Grigney's in the wrong spot as well. Another kill, 4 in a row. 13-1 as Immortals win the game.